And we are back.
Yes, we are.
What are you doing over there?
I just had someone message me on TikTok and I was like, they were like, I need a best friend like you. And I'm like, I don't want friends. Like, I love that people want to be friends with me. Like, that makes me feel good. Like, oh my gosh. But when I really, really sit down and think about it, I will make plans a week out and then day of, I'm like, why did I do this to myself?
Yeah, I hear that.
It's a lot of energy.
So we're trying something new. We were having, I don't know, I'm discontent with our podcast setup.
You really are.
So I'm trying different things. I've moved some furniture out of this room and I turned the main lights off so that we're running on LEDs and these blue lights behind us, trying to give us a more uniform color theme. And looking at the back of your camera, I don't know if I'm happy with this.
No?
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. I'll have to wait and we edit. Worst comes to worst, I can throw a layer over top of it and adjust the brightness in Premiere. I just, meh. What if we change the color of the lights? I don't know.
You have a little thingy, right?
Yeah, but if I don't want to mess with it while we're, while we are recording. I did message Michael today about the paint for that color of paint that we found.
Ooh,
and he said that they carry that color at his store, so he can do it. But that means that we're gonna have to rip all the shit off the walls. He's gonna have to come paint. And then we have to decide whether or not we're going to put all that up or actually hang artwork up behind us and then just try to figure out how to make it not echo in the microphones. Because though it's clean having the soundproofing back there and it makes the sound better, I think it would be better to have art on the walls.
Right.
So AJ said we should have a To Be Better neon sign behind us, which I have a company that makes neons. It's for the shops. I just don't know if I want to go that route or not. Maybe hang it on that wall and turn it on to get some extra ambient lighting. Could do the little logo, like a black light.
I would love To Be Better behind us in neon with plants behind our chairs.
We would have to definitely change the entire room for that.
We would, yeah.
I don't want plants in here. Not behind me anyways.
Can I do fake plants?
I would absolutely knock that shit over. Yep. I am very clumsy.
So can we decorate each side of our chairs? Like your personality versus my personality? And
I think that would clash, but I'm sure we could.
I don't see why that would clash. It's like people who mix patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disclaimer, we are not professionals. We are just people who like to talk shit on the internet. Any opinions that we give or advice that we give is purely opinion based. You can use it at your own accord. We are not licensed professionals.
Well, no.
I think it's funny that we have to say that, but I think it's better to just be safe than sorry, I guess.
I agree.
We've had an interesting couple of days. I've been having tons of issues with the computer. You did your cooking video for Patreon.
I hated it.
Did you watch it?
No, I didn't. I'm scared to see myself.
There's a lot of people that are like, I love the self-talking and
Hit.
Yeah. We could have definitely done a better job. Those lights in the kitchen are the same orange color as the ones in the ceiling, so everything had that orange daylight look to it, and I hate that. So, but I got to be honest, I also didn't put a whole lot of effort into the recording aspect of it because I had other shit that I had to do, and we were like 3 days behind on that video and pressed for time, and we just did it to get it done. I think the next time we do it, it needs to be on a day when neither one of us have anything going on, and I can get all the cameras out and can do multiple angles, and then that way, like when I edit it, I'm also not super busy. I agree. But the computer's still not doing what the computer's supposed to be doing. I'm still running on these cameras and having to edit off of SD cards. Yeah. So that's life. So we were going to do an email and then we may do another podcast after this or another video after this where we just rip apart some TikTok comments because we've been getting some doozies lately.
We have. So into the email.
Okay.
Let me start by saying I love your podcast and your content on TikTok.
Crazy, me too.
Hope you guys can give me some honest feedback about a situation I'm currently in, and this email will probably be a bit long. It is one paragraph. Babe, I promise, we've read novels.
Yeah. Yeah, we got one email that was like 9,000 words.
Yeah. I just ended an 8-year relationship with my boyfriend. We lived together for 7 years of that, initially owned a house together, then sold and rented an apartment. Over those 8 years, I was quite clear I wanted marriage and kids. He initially told me he did too, then said he wasn't sure, then would tell me he did under certain conditions. That's a lot.
It is a lot. Sounds like a lot of bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know how I would feel in that scenario. Like, you know what you want in life. Mm-hmm. The moment someone says, yeah, I don't know about that anymore, that's like an in-depth conversation.
Yeah, a very in-depth conversation.
Because if that happened 2 years in, I don't want to say you wasted 6 years with this person, but you just spent 6 years with somebody who's not on the same page as you.
Right.
He always seemed to come up with different excuses as to why he was delaying, like the fact that I am finishing up a doctorate program. He was trying to get a more stable job, making more money. Both of these things make sense to me. But then he would also say things like he needs to lose weight or we need to move to a different state. And this is in regards to getting married,
Right.
not even having kids. I was also starting to feel lonely in my relationship. He was never the affectionate type, but it got to the point because he was working so much that I would never get compliments from him and just felt like the emotional intimacy was lacking. When I tried to talk to him about this, I was made to feel like I was needy or asking for too much. I guess it just got to a point of where I was tired of feeling like I wasn't enough, so I broke it off. I'm struggling because I know he loves me and he's a good man, and sometimes I wonder if it was my approach that was off, or maybe I didn't realize how stressed he was with work and other things. And I'm wondering if I ruined one of the best relationships I've ever been in over something that was potentially fixable. But I'm just not sure he was willing or able to put the effort in that's needed.
Does it say how old she was?
No.
Okay. So not everybody wants to get married.
Right.
This dude, I mean, and if he's not being affectionate and being loving, he may not have wanted that in general. You know what I mean? Like some people just don't want to get married.
Right.
For a lot of men, a lot of men believe that there's no reason for us to get married. There's nothing in it for us other than risk. Because you can get the same companionship from a woman who's living with you and playing, husband and wife versus actually signing documents that make it legal so that in the event that things fall apart, you're now owed alimony, child support, half our shit. So like men don't find value in marriage anymore. And if that's the case, that could be just his belief system. It could be the way that you were towards him as a woman. He could have not trusted you. It could have been a lot of things. On the other side of that coin, he could have just not wanted to marry you. You know what I mean? Like he might not be one of those people who doesn't want marriage. It just didn't seem like it was going to go anywhere. You said that he was no longer intimate. He was overworked or under emotional with you. And like he was very disconnected.
Right.
Roommate phase. So in that aspect, maybe he felt like he was providing, but you didn't feel like he was providing enough. And there could have been nagging involved. There could have been complaining. It could have been a whole lot of other things that made him withdraw. And then at that point, the time that you guys had together was just comfort.
So there's a little bit more.
Oh.
And elaborates on some things.
Oh, well, there you go. That's how it works.
We still talk and hang out from time to time. He says he needs time to focus on his new job and doesn't want to think about long-term with me right now. Because when we were in the process of breaking up, I admittedly gave him the cold shoulder and probably didn't communicate as well as I should have, so I get it. But I can't help but wonder, did I do the right thing or should I have tried harder? I know the way men don't settle down until they feel financially stable, but on the other hand, they say men will lock down the woman they know they want to marry.
Right. The financial thing doesn't matter.
Right. She said, why am I waiting 8 years for a ring? Does this sound normal?
No, it doesn't. Because I know a lot of people who got married when they had absolutely nothing and were completely flat broke and they made it work. If you want to marry somebody and you are committed and you actually want marriage, that you can get a cheap ring. I mean, you can get a cheap ring. You can buy a silver wedding band off Amazon for like $30, I'm sure.
They have silicone ones now for like $10.
$12. Yep. The Halo rings or whatever they're called. Yeah.
Yeah. And then 10 years down the line, if you want to upgrade the ring, you can when you're financially better.
Right.
But it's not about the appearance of things.
Right.
I would ask him, why are you giving me excuses?
I would ask him to be honest.
Right. I would not wait 8 years.
And to say, I don't want to try to work things out with you because of my work.
Yeah.
That's an excuse. It sounds like he's disconnected and doesn't want this. But again, this is also a very one-sided email. We don't know what he's going through. I can say for certain that when a man is ready for marriage, he will make that shit work if that's truly what he wants.
Right.
You know,
her saying that he doesn't want to focus on the long term with her right now. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
If you were truly in love with somebody and that person chose to walk away for whatever reason and they came back and said, I was wrong, I'm sorry, I would do everything to make it work. If you've shown me changes in your actions and like you are truly in on this, I would give that person a second chance. I wouldn't give the cold shoulder because you want marriage and I don't.
Right.
That doesn't make sense to me.
No, I agree.
It really sounds like he's just beating around the bush.
Yeah. Just, it's easier to placate than to separate.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't want to hurt her feelings or something.
Yeah. That's, it's a lot. I think that it's important for people, anybody in the situation to realize that not all men are going to want marriage.
Right.
And if that's one of those things that are important to you and they say that they want the same thing and then start backpedaling later in life, there's a reason for it.
Right.
Something's changed in their mentality to go from, yes, I absolutely want marriage one day to, I got to lose weight first. We need to move out of state. Like, those are some really bullshit excuses for not getting married. It really is
to say to move out of state.
Yeah. I can understand wanting to get into shape
so
that you look good in your wedding photos. But I mean, that you could do that in 6 months. And I mean, unless you're like really overweight, and then it would take a little bit longer, but I can do a lot in 6 months.
I had a whole thing ready to say and it's gone.
Yeah. Is that my fault?
No.
Okay.
Because you were talking about the losing weight, and I was like, oh yeah, I've lost weight. And then I thought about my journey of weight loss, and the whole thing I had is just gone.
Yeah.
Oh, it's back. If I were her, I would also be prepared. So I'm going to tell you a question to ask him. You have to mentally prepare for whatever the answer is. I would ask him, you wanted to get married, and now you're throwing every reason under the sun as to why not. Did I do something to change the way that you perceived our relationship? Because it could have been something that you've done.
Yeah.
You know, this is not a very elaborate, in-depth
It's really not
email.
A lot of information.
Right. So there certainly could have been something. Could have been minor to you. Could have been a major thing to him. He just doesn't know how to approach you about it.
Yeah. I also got to say that after 8 years, if you've decided to walk away, I mean, I think you know. Like, you made the decision to actually leave at that point. You know, you can say whatever you want in this email, but like, it was bad enough for you to leave an 8-year relationship. It's time to move on.
Right.
And he could be a dope person, and you might think that you had the greatest relationship ever, but that email doesn't sound like the greatest relationship ever. It might have been the greatest relationship you've ever had, but I promise you that's not a good relationship.
Right. Like, you guys could have had fun. You could have good times.
Lack of intimacy is a problem.
Right.
Lack of emotional control is a problem.
I think it's super important to remember that just because you love somebody doesn't mean you're supposed to be in a relationship.
Love is not enough.
There are people that love me and would do things for me. Doesn't mean that they're attracted to me.
Right.
Doesn't mean that they want to be in a relationship with me. Some people are just meant to be friends.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that they're willing to do the work either.
Right. That sucks.
That was a short one.
It was a short one. I feel so bad because she said, why am I waiting 8 years for a ring? It's not, I don't want to say it's a her thing. I mean, it could be.
Right.
You know, I don't know if she has any communication errors or how she lives life and past traumas and all that kind of thing. When you're with the white, blah, 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 when you are with
third time's a charm, babe. You got this.
When you are with the right person.
Yeah.
They won't wait 8 years.
No.
I there are people I've known who got married 10 days after they met.
Yeah.
And now they're in their 70s.
Yeah. My mom and JJ were married in less than 5 months.
Like, there is no time frame on when you are ready to marry the right person.
When you know, you know.
Yeah.
And when you know, you don't know. You know, you don't know. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's a her thing. I obviously am not in the relationship, but from what she said about what he's doing, it sounds like he just doesn't want it.
Yep.
And it could be something she did to make him feel that way. But either way, it's a him thing in that scenario, because if she still really wants marriage and he's still very adamant about no,
you can't make somebody change their mind.
Right.
I can't remember what I was watching, but it was a woman talking about love languages. She was like, I was with a man for 20 years hoping that he would love me the way that I want him to.
That is a hell of a statement.
Right.
To say. And that's a really horrible way to live. Because you love somebody and you're hoping that they're going to reciprocate the way that you love. It does not work that way.
There are people who have certain love languages, and that's just how it is. You know, you're not a very super affectionate, cuddly, like wake up in the morning, roll over and wrap me up in a
That's because
bear hug.
I know what my breath smells like in the morning, and I'm not doing that to anyone.
Right. It's an example.
Yeah, no, it's factual.
My point is,
I'm gonna brush my teeth tomorrow and bungee jump off the desk onto the bed, or Mission Impossible jump, and land on you.
Make sure I'm not on my stomach.
Be like, babe, you can roll over and be like, ah!
I'm going to be very disappointed if this does not happen tomorrow morning.
I don't think the nightstand can hold me.
We have the little foot ladder thing. Excuses. You can't backpedal now.
Yeah, I can. What if I break the bed?
Oh, no. We're ready to spend $2,000 on armchairs.
Right, and I would much rather buy the chairs than a new bed.
I don't ask for a lot.
You just want me to Nestea plunge onto you, huh?
Yes.
Oh, we're dumb. I think we should read the ADHD email and then call it for this one, and we should screenshot some TikToks and have some conversations about those because I really want to rip apart some TikTokers.
I'm going to finish my thought, though.
Oh, I thought you were done.
I wasn't.
Oh, well, then
so she said being in a relationship with someone for 20 years, hoping that they would love her the way that she wants them to. You can't pick people's love languages. Mm-hmm. Just like you can't make somebody want marriage.
Right.
You can't be in a relationship with this man for the next 15 years hoping because you want to get married, he's going to want to. He's showing it.
Right.
Actions speak louder than words.
I concur.
Okay.
Get him, nurse. Did it for you, didn't it?
What did you just say? I'm trying to think of a stupid excuse. Like, I don't have my glasses on. I didn't hear you, but I'm wearing my glasses, so. I don't have socks on. Can you repeat that? Oh, I found it. ADHD in adults.
Yeah, that'd be the one.
Firstly, you have my full permission to speak about any of the things in this email on any of your platforms, including my first name, country, career. I think you get the idea. Do we feel comfortable doing that?
It doesn't bother me none.
Okay. I watched the video where you were talking about ADHD and hyperfixation, and I thought I'd throw some information out there in case you were interested. Then she said, if not, feel free to ignore this, but we're not, so.
Yeah.
I'm a 41-year-old Canadian woman who is diagnosed ADHD. Yeah. My dyslexia is kicking in. I thought I said AHDD, but I was like, no, I read it right. What am I doing? Me trying to trip myself up, but I dodged that shit. I also have attachment issues due to childhood emotional trauma.
I have attachment issues due to Velcro. Dad joke. Sorry. I've had a lot of caffeine today, and
I really had to process what you just said to me.
Yeah. Yep.
He said, I have attachment issues due to Velcro.
Yeah. I appreciate you laughing at my stupidity. It makes me feel just a little less dumb.
Did you just think of that?
Yes.
No way.
Yes way. That one was an original, and it was bad.
I'm so proud of you.
I guess as I get older, my dad jokes are going to level up.
You're really just putting in the work for it, and it shows. Like, that was phenomenal. I wish we were at a barbecue right now.
Stop it.
A cookout with a bunch of other dads.
Yeah.
So you can get a golf clap.
They'd be high-fiving me.
Is that how it works?
They would.
Would you,
with their New Balances and their high-top white socks.
I was going to say, would you all take out your tongs and just click?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So, attachment issues due to childhood trauma, which does make some of the. I'm still thinking about the dad joke.
It wasn't that good.
It was great. It made me really happy.
Okay.
I also have attachment issues due to childhood emotional trauma, which does make some of the issues associated with ADHD worse. When I was diagnosed, I learned a lot about myself and how to better manage and cope so that I didn't need to be medicated to function like an adult. No lie, this was a serious problem for me. I am also married with 2 children, ages 10 and 7. Good for you not getting on medication. This is obviously only my experience, and while there are some things that are seen in all people who have ADHD, it can present very differently in men and women. Oftentimes, girls or women are not diagnosed until later in their lives because they tend to have less of a behavioral problem that are traditionally seen in young boys with ADHD. I was diagnosed at 20 by my university counselor, who was seeing me for a drinking problem I had developed after a bad breakup. The diagnosis changed the course of my life for the better. Up until this point, I honestly had just thought I was flighty and unfocused. I hyperfixate on things. For myself specifically, this manifests in a fixation on something, and then one day I just stop.
Me too.
If I watch something on network television and then have to wait for another season, that show ceases to exist for me by the time the new season rolls around. Same.
Also me too. Like 90% of the TV we watch, if we can't binge watch it by the time it comes back on, I don't care.
Yeah. We wait like 3 or 4 episodes to get back into it.
Mm-hmm. And even then it's begrudgingly, and it's because it's on the DVR, and I'm like, oh, I remember that show.
I just go through I go through hobbies at an alarming rate.
Same.
I pick one up, spend all my free time doing it, and then suddenly just stop.
Same.
I do tend to go back to them every few months, sort of like a hobby rotation. It drives my husband bananas.
Same, but without the husband.
It also doesn't drive me bananas.
No, it's because you jump on that roller coaster with me.
Let's have fun. It's never illogical fun, though. If I need to check you, I do it in a soft, gentle way.
Well, I mean, I've been trying to buy recliners for this podcast room for 2 weeks now, and they're not here yet, which means you're definitely checking me still. You are really struggling.
I am.
It's the hair dye, isn't it? Chemicals got to you.
Yeah, my back hurts. I hyperfixate on things often. For myself specifically, this manifests in a fixation on something, and then, I just read that. Object permanence, but with people, is a real thing in my life and often something associated with ADHD in adults.
Also same.
Stop. Mm-hmm. Am I learning something about myself
I read
today?
that email and was like, damn, it's like she's telling my life.
I legit have to remind myself that my mother exists sometimes.
Wow.
Like, I get so focused on the things that I'm doing in my life, I'm like, okay, I need to call my mom. Like, when I'm in the car, I always call my mom when I'm in the car.
Right.
And there are times where I'll go a day, be like, oh my God, I didn't call her yesterday. I was so focused on X, Y, and Z. Like, my mom's a human being. I need to call my mom. It's a whole thing. I am that friend you never hear from unless you call, text first. I can go weeks, months without speaking to or seeing members of my family. This likely also has to do with my attachment issues. If I leave a job, no matter how close I was with my coworkers, I never really speak to them again. Same. I only have one person from my past jobs I still talk to. I have one friend that I have maintained since childhood, my sister, my husband, and my kids that are the only permanent people in my life. I also have my mom and stepdad, but to be fair, that has more to do with proximity than anything else. They live next door to me. I know that this next sentence makes me sound like a terrible person, but the most obvious example of people permanence is that I move on from people's deaths quickly.
Same.
Do I have ADHD?
I don't know.
Wow. Even people I have been very close with, it's like once they are gone and that's it. This process usually happens within a couple of weeks. It's something my family has never really understood, and I have come under a lot of criticism over.
I have the exact same thing, but with breakups.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it typically takes me about a week to grieve anything.
I don't know how long it takes me.
That's
I can get over shit pretty quick. I used to always joke and say that I can turn my emotions off because once I'm done with the situation, it doesn't matter if it's a person's situation or any situation. When I'm done with it, I'm done with it.
Right. Most adults with ADHD tend to lean towards jobs that are busy, chaotic, and ever-changing. I am a PSW.
I don't know what that is.
CNA is probably the term you would be more familiar with. Yeah, she's in Canada.
Yep.
And she works in the emergency room. This is the only job in my life I have excelled at and is likely due to the pure chaos and daily changes that come along with it. I love my job. It could pay better, though. Conversations are very, very hard for me. I tend to lose focus very quickly and have to pull myself back to a conversation. For most of my life, I totally thought everyone finished people's sentences in their heads before the other person has finished speaking. Apparently, this is not a thing most people do. I have to work really hard to maintain my focus enough so that the other person feels heard. That is something I had to work on a lot. I also had to work on not interrupting people while they're speaking.
That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
Especially when I'm not, like, when I just want the conversation to be over and people are, like, giving me too many details.
Yeah.
I don't care. Just get to the fucking point. I want that last, like, the most pertinent information so that I can walk away from you.
Right.
Yeah.
In conversations, especially when they're trying to tell me something that I need to do in this conversation, but you're taking 5 minutes to get to the point of where I need to come in because you want to tell me everything that happened beforehand, just tell me what I need to do.
Yeah. People need a fast forward button.
Yes.
Or a mute button.
Especially if the topic of conversation is not something I'm particularly interested in. Yeah. This has been especially difficult for me since I've had children. I'm getting better at it out of sheer necessity. Same though. Like when our kids are standing there and just like, hey, mommy, I saw a bird outside and the grass is green and then there's a leaf on the tree and there's dirt everywhere and there's ants.
And then they repeat it.
And I just,
900 times.
I'm just kind of like looking at them. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay, so for dinner, I'm going to make some beef. And then I have to like wash the dishes and I have to do the laundry. And I come back in, they say chicken nuggets. I'm like, oh, you want chicken nuggets? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, cool. I feel like as I get older, I can't get away with that though.
Yeah. Well, as they get older, they won't repeat themselves as much either.
That is true. I had to make checklists for chores around my house in order for me to keep on top of them. Some days I am a super cleaner and my house is totally spotless, and other days not a damn thing gets done around here. Hence the daily checklist, which have helped me immensely with lessening the chaos in my home. The last thing that affects my life is forgetfulness. Oh no.
You don't get to blame that on your ADHD.
Oh no. My memory was bad before I started smoking. Has it hindered it a little bit more? Probably.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has. You put your workout gloves in the closet one day and couldn't figure out where you put them. Like, no reason for them to be in there. Oh, yes. You were like, I don't know where my gloves are.
No, there is a reason for them to be in there because I was undressing in my closet and I was like, oh, look at that. I still have my gloves on, and took them off and put them on the shelf where I put my phone and my vape and my bra sometimes. Like, that's where things go when I'm in the closet.
And then you couldn't find them. I walked in the room the other day after we went out and did pictures. The next day we were editing, and you went right from the gym to the computer, and you were editing with your workout gloves on. I'm like, are you still wearing your workout gloves?
Because I was so focused on getting the photos taken care of. My fingertips aren't affected by it. Oh, man.
I have the forgetfulness too, but not to the extent of a lot of other people.
Yeah.
The planner, like the checklist thing, I'm living on a checklist now.
Yeah.
I have to log everything in my phone. It doesn't matter what it is. If I have something to do and it doesn't go in my phone, I will 100% forget that I'm supposed to do it that day, unless it's like the next day. Mm-hmm. I knew that I needed to do that homestead exemption 3 weeks ago, and it took me 3 weeks to drive 15 minutes up the road for a 10-minute interaction and 15-minute home.
Yeah.
So
my forgetfulness in my childhood was bad. I would leave sticky notes around my bedroom on where I put things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if I took my shoes off in the bathroom, I'd leave a sticky note on my mirror like your shoes are in the bathroom. It was bad.
It sounds like a whole lot of unnecessary paperwork.
It worked for me. Leave me alone. She says, I will forget to eat for days at a time. I have forgotten that I was headed to the bathroom, got distracted, and only noticed again when it was about to become an embarrassing problem.
I've never forgotten to eat.
No.
I've made the decision not to eat because of depression, but I love food way too much to forget to eat.
Oh, yeah.
The getting up and walking into a new room and forgetting why you got up to walk into the room is a daily occurrence.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what I was doing. If I get up and don't go do it immediately when I stand up, I will absolutely get sidetracked and end up doing something else.
Yep. I will be in the kitchen cooking, and I'll leave something on the stove, walk into like the kids' hallway, realize that I need to vacuum the floor, and then vacuum the floor, totally forgetting I have something on the stove.
Well, guys, if we ever burn the house down, it's her fault.
I'll remember.
Yeah, when the house catches on fire.
Hasn't happened yet. Stop embarrassing me.
You actually haven't even burnt any food yet, so you must be like a super vacuumer. Or you're really good at hiding burnt food, or you throw it away and start over because you've never served like a plate with burnt food on it.
I've never started food over.
No?
No. I'm too lazy for that. That's wasting food.
Yeah.
I'm all over the place. Well, that was a lot.
Yeah. I ended up sitting at the AJ and he's like, wow, dude, this is it to a T.
Yeah. Crazy.
I don't think I have ADHD. I don't. I think that, I mean, I know I have borderline because I've been diagnosed with it, but I think that a lot of my other things are just obsessive compulsive shit.
Yeah.
Although there was a lot of things in that absolutely sounded like me. You know, the hobby flipping is definitely a big one. And I've done that so much that like people will make fun of me for it. Like when I bought all the podcast equipment, one of my friends was like, hey bro, when you're ready to sell that shit, let me know. And I was like, what the hell, dude?
Damn.
Like I haven't even got it yet. And he's like, yeah, but I know you. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Don't hit me with that right now.
But I also do the same thing with cars.
Right.
You know what I mean? I get 2 or 3 cars a year. I don't know.
When I'm cooking, I'll also be in the kitchen and like I'll turn around to grab something out of the dishwasher and realize, oh, I can empty the dishwasher. And I'll empty the dishwasher and be like, oh yeah, I needed a fork. And then I'll go back to cooking.
Yeah. Well, we call that multitasking.
Is that really multitasking?
It is. You're working efficiently. I mean, you're already in there cooking, putting the dishes away while something's starting to boil. I mean, that's your time management skills right there.
That made me feel good.
You should just take that and turn that into a positive.
So my time management skills are really good,
There
guys.
you go. It's all about perspective.
You want to move on to the comments?
Well, we'll have to stop because I have to screenshot, and that new RAM that I bought for the computer is sitting on the front porch, so I'd like to get that as well.
Okay.
So you want to call this one and do the next one?
Yes.
Okay, we'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.